goods like petroleum and manufactured products, all those trillions of printed dollars will flood back into the domestic American economy. The result will not be the manageable inflation we currently experience. It will be hyperinflation that destroys the middle class overnight. The year 2026 is not a prediction that civilization ends on a specific Tuesday. It is a historical marker. It represents the point where the mathematical burden of our debt and monetary debasement becomes structurally unsustainable. It is the point where interest payments on the national debt exceed our entire defense budget. It is the point of no return. When Rome fell, it was not the end of human civilization. Life continued. The Italian peninsula endured. But the structure of that society, the security, the prosperity, and the global dominance disappeared into centuries of chaos and stagnation. Those who were dependent on the system were crushed when the system collapsed. Those who survived and even prospered during Rome's fall were the individuals who recognized the warning signs. They were the ones who held real assets, land, precious metals, productive skills, rather than trusting in the debased currency of a failing state. The warning signs are illuminated in bright red. History is shouting at us across the millennia. The error has already been committed. The poison is already circulating through the system. The only remaining questions are how much time remains and what you personally are going to do to prepare for the inevitable reset. We cannot halt the cycle of empires. It operates on a scale larger than any individual. It is larger than any political party or leader. But we can learn from the pattern. We can refuse to be like that Roman citizen standing in the Colosseum, convinced that the celebration will continue forever. We can open our eyes and see the ruins before they fully materialize. The clock is counting down toward 2026. The final act has begun.
All right, Shalom. I could have played more.
1971,
This is a very good
75%.
video. I
The
just
teacher said Sophie was
like at least an hour or so trying to find it because I believe the original video was taken down. So I was searching, man. I was going through old YouTube videos, my live camps, you know, some of the LD Ashram's videos to try to find, because I know he played this video. And I was looking for this thing, man. I found videos like it, but I wanted this particular one. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahshai, Bahashim, Rakach Kodash, and double honor to the apostles, the bishops, elders, the GMS. Shalom to you brothers that's preaching and teaching this truth and sincerity across the four winds of the earth. And
talking about
play this
codes.
Codes.
There was a particular point that I did.
I will give you $500 for every correct answer, but you have to eat this ghost pepper first.
Yeah, let's do it.
Silver. 50 years later, the
Let's see here.
Rome itself needed adopted that identical policy. We are exhibiting the same symptoms arbitrarily. It represents the 250th anniversary.
Here we go. Perfect.
Imagined. To grasp how the story ends, we must first understand how it began. Rome was not always a society characterized by corruption and excess. During the era of the Roman Republic, it was built on what ancient writers described as fundamental virtues. It was constructed by disciplined men, farmers who took up weapons when their land faced threats, fought to defend their communities, and then returned to their fields. The culture emphasized duty, restraint, and collective purpose. This philosophical foundation was reflected in their monetary system. For centuries, Roman commerce operated on the silver denarius. This was a coin struck from nearly pure silver. It represented sound money. When you possessed a denarius, you held something with inherent worth. You did not need to trust promises from political authorities. You only needed to trust the metal itself. This monetary stability created a reliable foundation for economic development. It incentivized saving rather than reckless spending. It enabled long-term investment and planning. It funded the construction of roads that connected the empire, aqueducts that delivered fresh water to cities, and the legions that expanded Roman territory across the known world. Because the currency had intrinsic value, the economic system functioned with integrity, but prosperity carries its own dangers. As Rome's military campaigns brought more territory under its control, extraordinary wealth poured into the capital. The governing class evolved. The farmer soldiers became hereditary aristocrats. The cultural focus shifted from building and producing to acquiring and consuming. By the time the Republic collapsed and gave way to the Roman Empire under Augustus Caesar, the conditions for eventual failure had already taken root. The empire's territory was vast, extending from the British Isles to the deserts of North Africa and Egypt. Sustaining this geographic sprawl required enormous resources. The costs were staggering. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers needed to be paid and supplied at outposts thousands of miles from Rome. Infrastructure across the concept we now call bread and circuses of welfare programs. The empire's reduce expenditures was the second option. The politically
You
expedient
can watch the video on your own. It's right here. You look up the vaults of history, 2026. It says the year America repeats Rome's biggest mistake.
path. Because this is precise and finance his extravagant possessed more coins genuine worth. were not obvious. The system continued to function. New Palace, they were spent silver. 50 years later, the proportion fundamentally a bronze quality cannot be permanent. True value of the currency. Olive oil and basic clothing required 120 coins. The government on maximum price simply with
Oh, where was it at?
until the entire structure buckled. Today, the United States has adopted that identical policy. We are exhibiting the same symptoms. And based on the documented life cycles of dominant empires throughout history, we are approaching the same terminal stage. The year 2026 is not chosen arbitrarily. It represents the 250th anniversary of American independence. 250 years happens to be the average duration of a global superpower before it experiences a fundamental transformation or breakdown. This is not speculation. This is historical data. What follows is not merely a history lesson. It is a diagnostic examination of
All right, and in this video, he goes into how Rome pretty much fell from the inside, and he is saying that, you know, America is following in like manner footsteps, falling from the inside out, right? And I'm gonna title the video, you know, they're getting ready to celebrate pretty much their destruction, right? The downfall. As we know, tomorrow is the 4th, right? So-called Independence Day, and so on and so forth. And everybody's about to, you know, barbecue, family coming from all over. You know, you got this going on, and then you also have the World Cup going on right now as well. So a lot of just bread and circuses happening all at one time to keep the masses, of course, distracted and keep their bellies full with, you know, entertainment as they plot, you know, the next step towards their NWO and so on and so forth. But, you know, people, you know, the average, you know, American, right, has no clue what's actually getting ready to unfold and to take place in Babylon the Great, right, which is America, right, known as Babylon the Great in the Bible. And, you know, people are getting ready to grab their hot dogs, their hamburgers, the barbecue grill, the chips, and the Modelo's, and beer, and Bud Lights, and catch some soccer, or whatever the case may be. And you're not wicked from watching soccer or any sports, right? You ain't wicked for that, but, you know, that is the vibration that is getting ready to take place. And pop the fireworks, get drunk, you know, barbecue, and so on and so forth. But they really don't understand what they're really celebrating. Because as we're vastly approaching, right, the end of this age of Esau, right, the end of Babylon ruling, right, and they have no clue that they're celebrating that, because that's really what you're really celebrating. They ain't really celebrating the independence, even though it is that, because you don't understand that this place is getting ready to fall. Just like the guy is saying in the video, the global empires, the average, you know, lifespan of a global empire, right, global power, is around 250 years. Doesn't mean, right, this year is going to be the year, which we hope that it is, right, or hopefully something drastic happens going into 2027, right, but we know they don't have that much longer, man, right? We know where they're, you know, the C9, which I got to make a video about that. Canada, they passed a bill, right, about, I believe that was about, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think I've seen a couple different things about it, but it's pretty much, if you're teaching, I don't want to get it mixed up, because I know I seen something about the I think it was like a pride parade or something, that if you get caught speaking, if you offend somebody that is in that lifestyle, they can call the police in Canada or something like that. But I don't want to get that mixed up with the actual C9 bill, which I believe the C9 bill was about. You know what? Let's just look it up. Let's just look it up real fast. Let's see here. Bear with me. Okay, so the bill, the C9 bill, is known as the Combating Hate Act, is a federal law that amends the Canadian Criminal Code to strengthen penalties for hate crimes and increase protection for vulnerable community spaces. It says passed Parliament and having received royal assent on June 18th of 2026, it comes into force on July 18th. So this year, coming up in a couple weeks, right, this bill is going to pass. And it says what vulnerable communities, which we already know what that's talking about. It's multiple different things in that, but we know what the main one is, right? It says protecting community spaces makes it criminal offense to intentionally intimidate or obstruct individuals from accessing places of worship, schools, daycares, community centers, and seniors residents. Violations carry a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Public display, it says bans public display of hate symbols. It says bans the willful public display of symbols associated with listed terrorist entities. A news, a specific Nazi symbol, right? Hacking cruise or SS boat to promote hatred. It says new hate crime offense. Establish a standalone crime offense for acts explicitly motivated by hatred. It says rather than just treating prejudice as an aggravating factor, it says during sentencing. You see, so that's what's getting ready to happen. And you already know these things take place in other countries, right, before it comes down here to America. Right? It says, let's see here. Will speech should also be included in this. Let's see here. Correctly criminalized by the Bill C-9. It says, but the act fundamentally changes how existing speech laws are enforced. It does this by updating the definitions of legal defenses within Canada hate propaganda regime. It's like it. Codifying the definition of hatred. It says the act adds an explicit definition of hatred. It says to section 319 of the criminal code to establish a high baseline for what speech can be legally prosecuted. It says it defines hatred as an emotion of an intense, extreme nature that is clearly associated with vilification. It says and detestation. Clarifying that speech that merely humiliates, discredits, hurts, or offends does not meet the criminal threshold. So speech, from what it's saying, is really not in it, but obviously if you're acting upon it, then it very will. To act, nonverbal expression, no. But that's pretty much that, right? I'm going to do a further video on it, Lord willing, here, but I wanted to get just to stay on the topic about the point, about these people getting ready to celebrate the destruction, because we know America is getting ready, reaching its expiration date. The Lord is getting ready to take this place out, and it's going to be completely destroyed, right? But the average American citizen, of course, does not know that information, because they think, just like how when you watch that video, just like the guy said in the video, it was like pretty much, look, it's like if you were to go tap a Roman citizen right on the shoulder and be like, this place was going to fall, right? It's going to be destroyed, so on and so forth, right? The fall of Rome is going to happen. They would look at you like you're crazy, just like how you would tell the average American when we out there teaching, preaching, we're talking about certain topics about the fall of this place, the destruction, World War III. They walk by, they give you a look, or they would just keep walking. Then they'll try to say something under the breath of whoever they're walking with, or whatever the case may be. They do those things, and we notice that, of course, when we're teaching. See it all the time, right? But that is, the goal, right? That is the end goal of this place, right? The end sign of this place, whatever the word I'm looking for, right? Because this place is eventually not going to be here anymore, right? It's not going to be a point in time to where it's going to be rebuilded, and then it's going to be all good. No, it's going to be a memorial of what not to do, right? Just like how Sodom and Gomorrah is, right? Just like the scripture says, it says, an example unto them afterward that should live ungodly, right? And that's exactly what's going on here. Let's actually get that. And sample KJV. Wait, no, where's that at? St. Peter's. Second Peter, right, 2:6. It says, in turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, it says, condemn them with an overthrow. It says, making them an example unto those that after shall live ungodly, right, and deliver just Lot. It says, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, right? So Sodom and Gomorrah was made as an example of what not to do. And America is going to be is following in like manner, because this is going to be an example of what not to do as well. And we're going to talk about it in the kingdom. We're going to be telling our kids, and, you know, Lord, we're going to make it on the first, you know, the first resurrection. We're on the chariot when the Lord come back, right? But we're going to be talking about this for forever. Taking the kids over here and showing them and pointing at it, and that this is what not to do. This is what happens when you are completely rebelling and going against the Lord, man. You see, and it's going to be a thing that's going to be remembered, because even amongst the Israelites, right, just like the scriptures say in what is that, Jeremiah, where they're not going to talk about the old Exodus, right? They're not. It's going to be the Lord liveth that brought us out of the land of Egypt, right? Because this new Exodus that's getting ready to happen is going to top with the splitting of the sea. Even though the splitting of the sea, right, was a beautiful thing, right, a huge miracle. Right, and a very, you know, I can't wait to, you know, see that, right, to see that in the kingdom, man, right, because I know the Elder Yahshua talks about a lot, that we're going to be able to see, right, the movie of life play out. We're going to see the flood, we're going to see the niggas in the wilderness, we're going to see all those things, right, all the great things that happen, right, the miracles, and, you know, we're going to be able to watch that like a movie, and I can't wait, man. Right, but to see that play out and all those things, but this is going to top that, right? It's going to top the deliverance out of Egypt, because the Lord is coming back with chariots, right? He's coming to make war. He's coming to put down these people and get his elect out of here. Right, I just made a video yesterday talking about the Lord is going to show out. That's going to be something that's going to be talked about forever. The heathens going to remember that. They're going, man, and the chariots are coming in and be telling their kids about it. Right? That's what's getting ready to happen. Like these people don't know that they're getting ready to celebrate the end. Right? But they're doing it on the left hand. They're doing it on the wickedness. All right, we're getting ready. We're celebrating every single day, because we know we're celebrating every single day that this place is soon to fall, man. Right? And these people don't even understand and realize that they're so happy. America, 250 years, yeah, 250 more. We're the greatest nation. We're this, we're that. We're gonna keep it going. We're the greatest this and the greatest military that, and heck yeah. Smashing beers on their head and shotgunning and popping fireworks and doing all that. They're gonna be happy. They're gonna be in that American Edomite pride spirit. There's gonna be obviously other heathens, and Jake gonna be involved and all that. You know, of course, they're gonna be in that fuck yeah spirit, that hoorah spirit, man. Right? And they don't even understand what's really getting ready to happen. This place is not. You think you hit a historical landmark. Like you think you about to just another 250 years. Yeah, America's gonna keep going forever and there. No, this place is not going. Imagine. I can't even. Just imagine this place another 5. We already got the FDA approving lab grown meat. You got wickedness. It's just getting worse and worse. You know, this place is decaying, man. You know, it's constantly just printing money. Everybody's confused. Everybody's tired. The prices, everything going up. It's just like, come on, man. There's no way, you know, that you think, you see all these things that's going on, you'd be like, yeah, no, another 250, another 150 year miracle gonna keep going. No, man. Everybody's ready. People are sick and tired of this place, man. People are getting fed up. And we just can't wait to see it happen in real time. It's going to be scary, of course. Right? We talk about the time Jacob trouble and the fall. It's not going to be walk in the park, man. And we understand it's going to come with a lot. It's not just going to be fall kingdom here. No, we're going to go day by day, seeing the fall, the beginning of it, the digital IDs, and then eventually the mark of the beast, right? Which is the RFID chip, right? And then eventually the riots and the people knocking shit, burning buildings down. That's going to start, and then eventually they're just going to send the troops. And then that's when it's just going, obviously the steps that it's going to take for it to fall before the Lord comes back is going to be something. It's going to be something, man. Right? But this is like when you're watching a movie. When you're watching a movie and you're getting close to the end, everything starts to just happen and unfold. Characters start coming out of nowhere, and people start helping the main character. The antagonist starts to get a whole bunch of allies, and they go into war, and all the chaos starts to brew at the end of the movie, man. And that's exactly what's about to happen here. All the chaos and all the action is about to fall. It's about to happen in this place. We're about to witness that. And it's going to be a beautiful sight, man. Because we don't get the kingdom until this place is gone, man. So that's why we're happy. That's why we can't wait. Because we're getting ready to get out of this damn hellhole. This is a nightmare. Men can't be men. We can't eat real food, drink real water, get no proper rest. Always waking up in the middle of the night because something going on. You're bloated, you're sick, you're tired. Yeah, come on, man. And the environment is not making it any better. You see? So that is the judgment of this place, of the great whore. Right? Because that's what America is. America is a whore, man. Right? He's spreading her legs open to all these other nations, landing men, giving them poly, giving them this, giving them that. And that's what she's doing. And then eventually, everybody's going to abandon that whore, right? And eat her flesh with fire, man. Let's get that. All right. Yeah, let's get that. How does that go? Put flesh with fire. See if it pops up here. Let's go down. Here you go. Revelation 17. Right. Revelation, what was it, 16, 17, and 12, it says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which hath received no kingdom as yet." It says, "But received power as kings 1 hour with the beast." It says, "These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast." Right, it says, "These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them." It says, "For he is the Lord of lords and King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth," it says, "are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast," it says, "these shall hate the whore," right? And what are these 10 horns, man? It's those 10, subordinate nations, right, under America, right, NATO and EU, right? It says, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." Why is that going to happen? Verse 17, it says, "For the Most High hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High should be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth." You see, this is all Bible prophecy, man, that eventually America is going to lose its allies and they're going to turn on America and they're going to shoot their missiles over here and burn her with fire, man. This is all the will of the Lord, because the Lord is going to put that in their hearts, right? And just like how he's with doing with Trump, right? And hopefully Trump is the man that the Lord uses to get us out of here, to start the persecution and all that stuff. Because even when the president's over here, the Lord is putting things in their mind to say and things to do to cause other nations to do what they're supposed to do. Because eventually, America is going to make the allies fed up, man, and they're gonna be like, all right, man, fuck all this. We tired of them. we tired of them. They doing too much, right? You see, and also when you read Isaiah in the NLT, right? Let's actually get that too. I'm gonna close it out with this, but this is what's happening, man. Right, this is all prophecy, and then what's going to happen? Right, that you should make war with the Lamb. They're gonna try to fight the Lord as well, right? Because you clearly it's talking about America, right? Because this chapter 17 talks about is giving you the description of America and its allies, so on and so forth, as you read right here, right? Verse 4, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet and color and decked with precious stones, so on and so forth. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Right? But then when you get Revelation, the 18th chapter, it goes into the destruction. Right? Let's get Obadiah. Let's get Obadiah, and we're going to shut it down. And let's get this in the NLT. Let's see where the NLT is here. NLT. Let's see here. I know it's further in the middle. Here we go. Obadiah 1 and verse. We're going to start at 6. NLT. It says, every nook and cranny of Edom, it says, will be searched and looted. Every treasure will be found and taken. It says, all your allies will turn against you. It says, they will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. It says, your trusted friends will set up traps for you, and you won't even know about it. It says, at the time, not a single wise person will be left in the whole land of Edom, says the Lord. It says, for on the mountains of Edom, it says, I will destroy everyone who has an understanding. It says, the mightiest warriors of Teman will be terrified, and everyone on the mountains of Edom will be cut down by slaughter. Right? So, even though they're probably doing that, this probably already started. Obviously when they have these big old summits and meetings in the United Nations and all these things coming together, obviously America's sitting there at the round table, everybody's talking, and then once a president lead a room or something, they were like, all right, look, we have to do something about this. This is who's with this? Like, come on now. They start talking about how they promised them peace. Oh yeah, we're down for you. We're down. We're helping you doing this and helping you do that and all these things. And then when you as soon as you turn your back and you walk out that door, they were like, all right, man. Like, they got 2 more times to do something. They got one last time, and this is it, man. We can't keep putting ourselves in these situations because of them. Because America is getting into all this trouble because they fall in the small hat. Right? They're following the top nation of Esau, Amalek. They fall in the tiny tops. So Trump is listening to them and putting him in all types of predicaments, and he's putting all the allies in all types of predicaments. But this is all prophecy, though. So it's good that this is happening, man. And we don't care if you people don't believe it. We do not care at the end of the day, because you not believing something is not going to stop it from not happening or stop it from happening. It doesn't matter. You can not believe the sun's going to come up tomorrow. Is the sun going to come up tomorrow? The answer is yes. You cannot believe America's ever going to fall, or in your lifetime. But is that going to make it to where America's not going to fall? No. So people like to say, "Oh, I'm not gonna believe that's gonna happen," or "I don't believe it," because you deep down you're really scared, because you realize if that does happen, you're through, you're finished, and there's nothing that you can do about it. So your only hope is just not to believe it. Like, and the thing is, the things that we say, it doesn't sound far-fetched. look at the economy. Look at everybody getting pissed. Look at what's going on Earth. And you people are just like, "Oh, I don't believe it. Not in my lifetime." Well, that's just like the scripture say. It says, "The pride of thine heart has deceived thee." And let's actually get there. We're in the same chapter. Where is that at? I think it's right at the top, isn't it? Yeah, here it is. Let's get it in KJV though. KJV. Let's see here. Obadiah 1 and verse 3. It says, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee." It says, "Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?" It says, "Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord." Man, that pride, that American pride, has completely deceived you, man. You think America, don't get it twisted now. America is the greatest nation to ever, country to run the earth, man. Right? So don't get that twisted. We're not saying that at all. But why is that? It's not because of something of you're doing. This is all prophecy. This is all the will of the Lord being played out. But that's where the pride gets into you, because you don't even understand why you're in power. You don't even understand why you're in rulership. This all goes back to Esau and Jacob, man. We're living in your blessing right now. You were promised, right? That you were giving a blessing, that you were going to have the fatness, the dew of heaven, and all these. You were going to have the earth in dominion, man. But that blessing was not forever, right? Because Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So we're in your earth. We're in the earth age of Esau right now, man. So yeah, of course you're going to have all the weapons, the great military that started in the time of the Greeks. So of course you're going to have this, man. It was a blessing. You're blessed with the sword. That's why your military and all these things were the top, right? So you have all these things because it's all written. Not because you have high IQ. You people are just so strong, and you guys are cavemen. You gotta understand that. So easy a caveman can do it. That damn Geico commercial. So that's where your pride has deceived you, because you think that this place will never get touched. You think this place, you're undefeatable. But the Lord, just like how the Lord set up Pharaoh, he's setting you up, man. He's fattening you up and getting you ready, so his name can be magnified in earth, man. That is the end of the movie. So that's pretty much it, man. You people are celebrating the destruction, and you don't even realize it.